Welcome to Conspiracy Monday. I'm David John Sponheim, running for president in 2016. Today we're going to entertain conspiracy facts, not conspiracy theories. Big difference. I mean, you could pontificate that maybe JFK was killed by somebody other than Lee Harvey Oswald. You could believe, like 90% of the country, that maybe somebody was involved in that attack on JFK, our greatest president. But chances are, you don't want to be called a whack job. You don't want to be in any way accused of being a whack job, so you don't even open the discussion to whether JFK was killed by anybody, even though you think he was killed by somebody else. So, and that's true with almost every conspiracy theory. But there are things now that are coming to a head. There's a conspiracy fact that the Federal Reserve was created by a group of private bankers in 1910 and then ratified in 1913. And for 100 years, they've been in control of our monetary system. That's a fact, and they don't answer to the government. The Government Accounting Office can only oversee the operations of the Federal Reserve in the United States. There's no agency of the government that actually looks at their investments.
The Government Accounting Office doesn't even really oversee them.
They don't. They just look at their totals. And right now, the Federal Reserve costs about $7-8 billion to run. And they employ about 18,000 employees, earning an average salary of $77,000 per year. But that's just what the Government Accounting Office reports. We don't know what kind of investments they've made. And frankly, with our national debt at nearly $17 trillion, the Federal Reserve has actually spent almost $17 trillion in loans to companies and countries. In fact, 30% of that money went to foreign nations. So we've got a problem. We've got an organization of very wealthy bankers that are making money on the side, printing up money. And by the way, they printed up $6.1 trillion and added to our debt in the past, I would say, 4 years. And that $6.1 trillion went into the TARP funds and, of course, QE2 and QE3. That could have gone to the American citizens, but instead it went into private bankers' hands. And that's why the stock market has remained so buoyant. That's why it seems to be doing well in tough times. That's why you're penny pinching and the bankers on Wall Street are living lavishly. And I understand that right now in our government, they are partying. They're having a party right now during the government shutdown, now at 15 days. If they don't get this budget under control in the next 2 or 3 days, by Thursday, our nation's going to default on its debts, which means it is going to get bad credit ratings around the world, which will lower our ability to even function. We may go into automatic austerity, whether we like it or not.
Then we can't borrow any more money.
Then we won't be able to borrow any more money. And that's not such a bad thing, because those bankers have been sucking money dry out of our Federal Reserve. Like I said, we've got a $17 trillion national debt, another $17 trillion that the Federal Reserve has just borrowed and loaned out to almost everyone at the top level. In the past 4 years, we've seen this money just fly out from the Federal Reserve. When are we going to get accountability? Well, therein is what we need to do. Get accountability. That is why we have a failure in our political system. That is why our two parties have failed us. They are not accountable for what they're doing. They are actually spending recklessly in all different directions, to corporate cronies, to big money donors that are $50,000 plate dinners. They get elected by sucking up to corporate America. Where do we get anything from our leaders? Well, we just get the only government agency in the country that actually listens, the NSA. They've dedicated their servers in Bluffdale, Utah, to watching everything we do, collecting information. I'm looking at reports all over the place how the NSA is collecting millions of contact lists. This is all against our Fourth Amendment rights, by the way. Yet Barack Obama and the Republicans, they refuse to even acknowledge that the NSA is doing something bad. Obama went on Jay Leno last month and claimed, well, they're not listening in. They're not actually listening to our calls. They actually are, Obama. They're listening to 50,000 calls all over the country, documented. We've seen them violating the laws required for them to get FISA judges to sign off on warrantless wiretapping. We've seen them violated. Obama's done just as many egregious acts of violating the Fourth Amendment as Bush did. And here you voted for Obama. Don't worry about it. A lot of people believed his lies. A lot of people believed a person who reads off a teleprompter and says nice things to get elected. But that's not the kind of leader we need right now. We need a leader who can think on his feet and respond to the American people without a teleprompter. I am that person. I've been running for president for the past 5 years, and we're just getting started. Because this country is in need, dire need of a person who has new ideas in the leadership role of president. And we also need a person who can respond to the American people and talk interactively on a nighttime chat like I do. So clearly we've got problems that are not being addressed in the mainstream media. We've got problems with our private sector. Somebody was just saying in the room, we've got big, huge expenses in green technology. Now, here's an example of some of the wind tower that we have around the country. Wind turbines cost $1.5 million a piece. They take 20 years to pay for themselves. We have invested a tremendous amount of money with big millionaires and billionaires like T. Boone Pickens. So don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Renewable energy is clearly a wave of the future for our country. But we can't allow 1.5 billion or 1.5 million per turbine. So we're going to need better solutions to solve America's problems. We're not going to get it from the renewable energy sector that's privately funded. So I'm in favor of government operations where we mainstream, mass produce, and create very efficient wind power devices that could solve our country's wind power problem. We could get as much as 20 to 30% of our energy needs supplied by wind power. And I came up with a concept that I think could very well be a win for our country. This is a concept that I'm going to put right in front of you that I will present to the American people. It's a Savonius windmill, which is public domain. It was designed by Savonius for all of us to create something like this. This unit could very well cost less than $1,000 and mount on every electric pole in America that has wind. Can you imagine the potential economic growth that could come from this? Not to mention the installation fees that we'd be paying people around the country, young guys who want to get out there and install these things, that have the training. This would be a growth industry. This is just one of my many ideas that we've profiled in our book, Hybrid Capitalism. But clearly the oil and the coal lobbies have taken control over our two parties. Clearly we are now paying more per gas gallon than we ever have because these people have one thing on their mind. The oil and coal companies want to profit. They don't care about our pocketbooks. So consequently, they've been allowed to trade secretly in the investment markets of the oil futures that they currently invest in. They don't do it openly. Yet the government found out that if oil futures purchases were made publicly or openly, transparently, the cost of a gallon of gasoline would drop a couple bucks a gallon. Seriously. That would really help our country. We are the largest consumer of fuel in the world. Why wouldn't we be paying even less than we're paying right now? Why would we allow the oil and coal companies to dictate the price and collude to drive the price of gas up every single time you go on a trip? It always goes up in the summer. That's all. That's a conspiracy fact, okay? That's not a theory. The oil and coal companies control our entire oil price system in America. They do. You'd never get the government to admit that, but what you could get the government to admit is we don't have oversight over oil. The Department of Energy doesn't oversee oil itself. They see it as a commodity. Therefore, it's not something the Department of Energy controls. See what I'm talking about? Conspiracy fact, okay? And it's a fact that the NSA is watching over our daily lives. They've openly admitted it. The director of the NSA has stated categorically that they watch us. They listen in. And that's why their servers out in Bluffdale, Utah basically fried the other day. They had 4 fires over there in this big, huge complex, that $2 billion complex they created just to watch us. Are you with me? Just to watch us. All right. There's some glaring examples of a problem with the 9/11 Commission report. I'm going to show you the most glaring example present. This is photographs of the fateful day at the Pentagon, where the FBI only revealed 15 frames of one camera angle of the front of the Pentagon. Now, if that isn't the telltale sign of a cover-up, I don't know what is. Conspiracy fact. We have never actually gotten 82 camera angles revealed by the FBI. They are purposely keeping us in the dark. And I'll tell you something. Conspiracy fact. The Office of Naval Intelligence and 127 men were killed in this attack on the Pentagon. They were investigating a bond issue that George H.W. Bush had taken out in 1991 that was coming due, guess when? September 11th, 2001. 10 years later, that bond issue was due. $240 billion. And by the way, it disappeared when the World Trade Center collapse occurred. We've got other things to reveal to all of you. I can't tell you how messed up our country is right now. We are at the peak of being messed up. I don't think it's ever been this bad. Our country is now seemingly supporting rebel terrorists. Al-Qaeda forces in Syria are the rebels that we as a nation in England and France have been sending supplies into and money into and rockets into. Yes. Never in the history of our nation have we ever supported terrorism until now. And this is at the very bottom of the conspiracy fact that Benghazi is a major cover-up over what really happened. Basically, there were 31 CIA agents on the ground in Benghazi during the takedown of Chris Stevens. That has not been revealed by the government. It was revealed by Donald Trump in a tweet about a month ago. Right after that, the CIA operatives were pushing a story about how our embassies had to be shut down. Remember that? 2 days of a major Al-Qaeda threat? Well, I've got a video right here that talks directly from the BBC. I'm just going to play you a short period of it, but I'll play it later tonight. This is a powerful video that says that the BBC now admits Al-Qaeda never existed. Unbelievable, mind-blowing dissertation brought to you by the British Network.
Even bin Laden's displays of strength for the Western media were faked. The fighters in this video had been hired for the day and told to bring their own weapons. For beyond his own small group, bin Laden had no formal organization until the Americans invented one for him.
Okay, that's just a teaser. That's basically a video that is available out there that talks about how they went into detail about how Al-Qaeda was a database. So when we say we're supporting Al-Qaeda, we're really supporting a database of known thugs and thieves and criminals in that region. So our government is essentially starting a war in Syria. Are you with me? That's why Barack Obama and John Kerry were so vehement about getting a stop to this Bashar al-Assad's terrible chemical attack on the people. They didn't even have real pictures of the real dead people. Many people did die, yes, but we don't even know the specific facts about where the origin of that gas came from. And to this day, Russia still claims in a 100-page document that the rebels themselves actually did the gassing to blame it on Bashar al-Assad. You see what a twisted policy we are involved in now? Our country is virtually... We're going to have to save face. We're going to have to get a third-party president in the White House in 2016, simply to show the rest of the world that we, the American people, realize that we blew it. We allowed the CIA to operate without any oversight. We allowed them to cover up after cover up various things that have happened. Conspiracy fact. We still have not seen a photo of Osama bin Laden's dead body. No one in this country has ever seen it. Okay? No one in the world has ever seen it. Conspiracy fact. The bin Laden family has not had any access to the DNA evidence that they claim they acquired when they took down Osama bin Laden in Abbottabad. We are dealing with all kinds of conspiracy facts now, folks. We're beyond the theory stage. That's why I embraced this concept of doing Conspiracy Monday a long time ago, because I realize that we have questions that are not getting answered at all. And our party, America's Third Party, is dedicated to actually finding answers to the problems, especially about the World Trade Center 9/11 Commission report. Let's find out who did this. We support an independent third-party investigation of the 9/11 Commission report. So clearly we have to do something. And a third party is probably the best choice we've got. All right, we've got... yeah, we have a problem with society for sure. A lot of people have kind of just shut off to all the things that I've just said. Okay? I realize that. You're going to get a lot of jarheads and lame brains and zombies at your dinner table this coming holiday season. Trust me, a lot of family members are going to freak out when you say, hey, what about a third party? But it's the best shot we've got to get the word out right now. Word of mouth is probably the most powerful form of advertising we could possibly do. Being the NSA controls the internet, they've got people on staff at Google, Facebook, and countless other social networks preventing the truth from getting out. We've seen changes, unbelievable changes. People hit on our videos from all different angles, going on different IP addresses, and hit on our videos, and nothing happens to the counter. So we know that our videos are purposely being kept at like 12. A couple of years ago, before I changed my formatting, I was getting 20,000 hits a week. Seriously, just on our new videos. Now our new videos get 10, 15 hits a week. Seriously. So you know they're purposely covering up whatever we're doing here. So this is really very disturbing, in that our country needs answers, we need solutions, we need ideas, we need common sense agreement, and we need compromise, and we especially need a president who can negotiate. But we've got a president who's all about his ego, all about Obamacare as being some major thing to put on his mantle to brag about. This president is next to useless. In fact, he's sabotaging our economy and taking us deep into a hole which we'll never extricate ourselves from with his ideas. Only with brand new ideas will we ever get out of the hole we're in right now. And if we continue to vote two-party, folks, and you can tell your family this, we're going to go nowhere. They lie. That's their common theme, is both parties lie, and they both suck up to corporations that pay for their pet projects to be funded by the U.S. government and your tax dollars. They've got a good loop going, and they're not going to ruin it, and they don't want a third party, and they're doing everything they can to keep us away. Conspiracy fact. Third parties have a much harder problem getting on ballots, getting funding, than major parties do. Seriously. It was all made that way, and every single state has different laws. But you know something? The work Sarah did on the ballot access that we currently have on our website at americasthirdparty.com is still very valid. A lot of the dates have not been changed to 2016, but all the laws are the same. We can still do this, folks. We just need your effort and start word of mouth at the holiday season, and we can get the ball rolling. And I'll tell you, with a cable TV plan that we've got for 2015, we've got a good chance of getting some mainstream media attention. And I think we can pull this off. But it's been 2 elections now. We've been working up to this point, and I think we're going to be able to do this. But I thank you for listening to our show. It's on 6 to 9 every single night, except Sunday. And thank you for watching. See you again sometime.